After looking at pet tech, there's another category quietly growing out of the Greater Bay Area, and it's even more invisible: smart home mini devices. These are small, relatively inexpensive products, but they're solving everyday problems around convenience, security, and even energy usage. And when you combine that with their pricing and margins, you start to see why this category is scaling so quickly. So let's break it down. When you start browsing sourcing platforms, one thing becomes very clear very quickly: there is a massive number of small smart home devices being produced at scale. You'll see products like smart plugs, motion sensor lights, door and window sensors, and compact indoor cameras appearing repeatedly across different suppliers. A lot of this activity is concentrated around Shenzhen, where the electronics ecosystem is extremely dense. If you scroll through listings on 1688.com or Alibaba, a consistent pattern starts to emerge. There are many similar products, small variations in features, and very competitive pricing. For example, a basic smart plug might be sourced for around $2 to $4, while a motion sensor light might fall between $3 to $6. Door sensors are often in the $2 to $5 range. That level of consistency usually indicates standardized, high-volume production, which is exactly how categories like this scale quietly but efficiently. On the demand side, what's driving this category is not excitement or novelty, it's convenience. But in a very subtle way, these products remove small bits of friction from everyday life. And those improvements add up over time. A smart plug allows you to control appliances or lights from your phone, which means you no longer have to wonder whether you left something on. It also means you can turn things off without getting out of bed. A motion sensor light turns on automatically when you walk into a dark space, which makes nighttime movement easier and less disruptive. Door sensors notify you if something opens unexpectedly, which adds a layer of awareness whether you are home or away, and compact indoor cameras allow you to check in remotely, giving you visibility and peace of mind. None of these features are dramatic on their own, but together they create a home that feels more responsive, more secure, and easier to manage. And that is really what people are buying: a smoother everyday experience. What strengthens this category even further is that convenience is only part of the story. Security and energy management are also important drivers. From a security perspective, even a simple setup can be compelling. A basic indoor camera might cost around $8 to $15 from a supplier, but can retail anywhere from $30 to $60 depending on branding and features. For many users, that provides a practical level of home monitoring without the cost of a full system. On the energy side, smart plugs allow users to control when devices are running, schedule usage, and reduce unnecessary power consumption. A plug sourced at around $3 might retail for $15 to $25. The savings per device may not be huge, but the sense of control and efficiency adds real value. So what you are really seeing is a combination of convenience, basic security, and energy awareness, all delivered through relatively simple products. From a business perspective, this category has several attractive characteristics. The cost of entry is relatively low, which makes it easier to test ideas without large upfront commitments. Demand is also broad, since almost every household can relate to convenience, security, or energy savings. What makes this even more interesting is the range of suppliers behind these products. For example, in Shenzhen, you have companies like Shenzhen Timing Technology, which has been operating for several years and focuses on smart plugs, switches, and sensors. Suppliers like this typically support smaller minimum order quantities, often starting in the range of a few hundred units, and are open to private labeling. You also have mid-sized diet-focused manufacturers, such as Shenzhen Colseer Technology, which produce a wider ecosystem of connected devices. These types of suppliers are useful if you are thinking about building a more integrated product offering rather than selling a single item. And then there are more established manufacturers like Smalix, which have been in the industry for decades and have experience working with global OEM clients. These companies often have more structured processes and stronger quality control, but may require larger commitments. So across the Greater Bay Area, you are not dealing with just one type of factory, you are dealing with a spectrum, from flexible newer suppliers to more established, process-driven manufacturers. Where a supplier sits on that spectrum can make a big difference in how you approach them. When you connect everything, a clear picture starts to form. You have efficient manufacturing producing low-cost, scalable devices. At the same time, demand is driven by practical needs like convenience, security, and energy control, and importantly, the pricing structure allows for meaningful margins while still being accessible to consumers. That combination is what makes this category quietly powerful, so while a lot of attention goes to more visible or trend-driven products, categories like this are steadily building in the background. And in many cases, those are the opportunities that tend to last longer. I'll see you in the next GBA Signals.